for this year so far and just being in the lineup for the first time, is there anything that you've really, enjoyed or anything that surprised you about competing week in, week out for Penn State, or is it kind of what you expected?
I think being around the guys for a whole year as a redshirt, it kind of like prepared me for it. But I think like going on all the trips now and everything, it's not as serious, as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Like last year as a redshirt, I remember like watching every single duel pretty much from home, and I'd get really amped up, and like just that motivation from seeing all my teammates compete, and I was like, I just want to go do it right now. And then.
Yeah.
I think like for the first couple of tournaments this year and duels and stuff, I kind of was taking that like motivation into it, and then we were there, and you're messing around until basically the time you step on the mat. So I think it's just kind of been eye opening how relaxed our program is, and like we had like I think the 10 best guys in the country at every single weight, or like the best guy in the country at every single weight, all 10 of our guys, and I think that as good as we are, it's so relaxed and so chill, and I think that it's really eye opening to see like how unserious everything is. You want to be like a big tough guy all the time, and then it's cool to just have fun and laugh.
Right. I feel like it was a very similar vibe when I was in school, and I feel like the other teams, they just kind of look at you weird. They're like, "What's with these guys?" And we're just like smiling, laughing, like. I remember at one point in our careers, the big thing to do was like the bottle flips. Like you fill the bottle up like partial way and you flip it. And we were like doing that in the middle of the mat, like in warm up. And the other team's just like, what is wrong with these guys?
Yeah, I remember
joking around.
This year at the BJC when we were weighing in for the Iowa duel, we were all like we went in the weigh-in room to check our weight, or maybe it was like for skin checks or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Iowa guys walked in, and I mean, you would have thought that like everybody or like their coaches just took their like after weigh-in drinks or something. They were all just looking so mad, and I was just like, it's just wrestling.
Just chill, man.
Yeah, it's not that, and it's nothing.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Was that the same mentality that you had in high school coming into college, or completely different?
Completely different. I mean, you would have thought we were going to war every single time. Even for like the high school duels that we'd like pin because I was on a pretty good high school team, and like there was duels where we'd pin everybody, but our coaches were always like, let's go smash you guys, just yelling at us and stuff. And yeah, it's like a complete 360 flip from high school.
How do you feel like that mentality affects your performance and the other guys' performance?
I think that it just like puts in perspective how like the main goal is to get better at wrestling and not to just win this match. Like I think that every other person, and even I get caught up in it still sometimes too, but like the main goal for I'd say 99% of people is like win now. And I think that the unserious having fun approach is more eternal, kind of how we talk about as a program, and it goes for all of your life. So I think that taking the have fun, relax, and focus on getting better wrestling approach, it prepares us for tournaments like Big Tens and Nationals like in December, So I think that like in December, like I think about this one a lot. Michael Beard, when we wrestled Lehigh, I wrestled Michael Beard. It was like my first big match, at 197, and pretty much in college in general. And before the match, Coach Kale came up. He's like, "How you feel?" And I was like a little nervous, and he was like, "Just have fun, dude." And he's like smacking me on the head. I had the biggest smile on his face, and I was like, "You know what? Like, this is just another day. Like, let's have fun." And I think about that, and I think about how that's prepared me for like moments like this week and preparing for the bigger matches, the ones that like actually count. It's the same mentality of like just go have fun. We're just playing a game at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah, Coach Kale's pre-match little talks are the most underrated part of his coaching.
Yeah, 100%. Like the most like I think it was the Ohio State duel this year. It was kind of like a weird duel because Lightning Luke got pinned. It kind of like threw everything off, and it was like it ended up being a little bit closer. We had a couple guys out, and I was like getting a little bit into it because me and Levi were in the locker room when Luke got pinned, and everybody went crazy. We were like, "What just happened?" And then it was kind of like closer than we expected, and I was getting a little playing into it a little bit, and Coach Kale was like, hey, nothing changes. And I was like, you know what, you're right. So
Yeah.
it's just like, I think one of his best talents is like being able to bring you back down to where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tensions get high.
For sure. How do you feel like you've progressed over the course of your season? Like, with just you had so many big matches in a row, and this being like your first real year. How do you think, like, from the start till now, how you feel different or how you've improved?
I think that overall I've just improved mentally more than anything, just being able to forget about results and stuff. I think that like after the Beard match, I was like really excited. I was like, all right, like I'm here. Like everybody knows who I am now. And then I kind of like went home that day and I thought about like getting excited in my head again. I was like, you know what? Like I don't need to do that. Like we got another big match here soon, because I had like Stephen Little, you know, in like a week or 2 weeks or whatever. I was like, I got to start preparing for that. So I think that just forgetting results, win or lose, has been like my biggest attribute and where I've improved the most at this year. Because like I lost the Iowa match, but then we had Michigan the next week. I had the number 2 guy. So it was like, you know, like take from the Iowa match what I can get better from, but there's no point in being down in the dumps about it, you know, and that kind of stuff. And same thing like after the Michigan match, like you win that match, but it's like, all right, we got Maryland on Sunday. What can I get better from, and forget about it. So I think that my wrestling, I think that I could get better until I was like 100 years old. Like I'll never ever be the perfect wrestler, but I think my mindset has definitely been the most improved thing this year.
Yeah. What would you say that, you know, prior to kind of learning some of these lessons from Coach Kale and the other guys, what was your relationship like with wrestling and with winning and losing?
I think that you're kind of raised, at least I was kind of raised, like winning and losing is everything, you know, not specifically by like my parents or anything, just the culture that you grow up in. And I was coached by Paul Donahoe. He was a national champ. And I was coached by a lot of good guys growing up. I was coached by Roy Hall at Davison, and he coached like Brent Metcalf, Paul Donahoe, John Reeder. And so it was a very like culture that was used to winning. So I think that like growing up in that culture, it put a lot more pressure than needed to be. So I think my relationship was a lot worse with the sport, because it was a lot worse and a lot better at the same time, because sometimes like when you'd win, you'd be on the highest high of all time. You're like, oh my gosh, like I'm the man. And then when you lose, you're like, oh man, I should just like hang it up now. Like this sucks. So it was more up and down, and now it's just even keeled. It's the same thing. Pretty much every single day. It's, hey, let's get better at wrestling. Let's have fun, and let's be a good person, instead of let's be the biggest, baddest dude walking around.
Right. If you guys like that clip, check out the whole podcast here and make sure to hit that subscribe button.